So, where do you guys think that these photos may be from? Name a state, country, continent. Anyone? Yeah.
Greece.
Anyone else?
Europe.
Where in Europe?
Switzerland.
Anybody else? Any other ones? So these photos are actually from New Zealand, which is a small island near Australia. Nicholas and I both wanted to research New Zealand because he's from Germany, I'm from the US, and we kind of wanted to find a country that neither of us knew much about. And we also wanted to present a country that you guys could possibly spend a year abroad.
So New Zealand is our country in our bucket list as well, and we both are really passionate about researching through this topic. Even though New Zealand is a Western society, it has some parts of the culture that can only be found in New Zealand. So today we will talk about the animals, the landscape, the indigenous people of New Zealand, and their culture.
So New Zealand has very odd, unique, and just strange features, and within these features are also just as strange and unique animals. But regardless, the locals here love their animals so much. So New Zealand is home to the kiwi bird. The kiwi bird is a small flightless bird actually named after the fruit itself because of its color and its texture. This bird really doesn't do all that much, but it's actually this country's national icon. They love this animal so much that they have named their people after this bird. For an example, in San Diego, people who live here are called San Diegans, but I found on the website Kiwis for Kiwi that people of New Zealand are not called New Zealanders, they're actually called Kiwis. It's the website name, because that's just how much they love this bird. This bird, this bird is able to survive here for so long because there are no species of snakes in New Zealand, and there are no venomous or poisonous insects here. I've also found on Kiwis for Kiwi that this bird's largest predator is actually just a domesticated dog. So I feel like this country sounds pretty great by this point if the biggest predator it has could be at home in your living room just taking a nap. But that's actually not entirely true because the animals to be feared are actually the white-tailed spider, and they have a giant carnivorous snail. And I have just a short clip. That's not a real picture of snail, but I have a short clip of how this giant carnivorous snail actually works because it was kind of a difficult concept to understand. You don't really need any sound, but that's a snail. That's just like your normal earthworm, and this is how it consumes the actual worm. So that's what they have in New Zealand, which this really surprised me. I was like not prepared for this. But in order to house these strange and unique animals, there needs to be a just as unique landscape as well. So New Zealand is actually one of the most diverse countries in the world, and it's so diverse because it has such a small area. The culture, or the landscape here, has really influenced their culture in a lot of ways. I found on Tour Leader New Zealand that New Zealand is home to active volcanoes, deep phyroids, forests, glaciers, really like right on the beach pretty much, and also snowy mountains. And the locals here actually love their landscape so much that they've protected 1/3 of it through if we could go to the pictures. They've actually protected 1/3 of it through national parks and the other half through conservation easements. So this past May, I was traveling abroad, and I actually met a group of five New Zealand brothers. We were talking about where they live, where did they go to school, and they were telling us that New Zealand is so small but so diverse. You can go hiking, you can go snowboarding, and you can go surfing all in one day. The farthest you can ever be from a beach in New Zealand is only 79 miles. So here in the U.S., if you drove 6 hours across Texas, you would still be in Texas by the end of those 6 hours, just to give some perspective of how small but how diverse New Zealand is. Film producers know how diverse and picturesque this country is, and I found on Backpacker's Guide New Zealand that the movies Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, King Kong, Chronicles of Narnia, and The Last Samurai have all been filmed in New Zealand.
So the native inhabitants of New Zealand see themselves deeply connected to the nature, and they make sure that they take care of it. The indigenous people of New Zealand are called Maori, and the Maori were initially settlers from eastern Polynesia who colonized New Zealand around 1300. The Maori quickly inhabited the whole country and then split into different clans. Each of them spoke their own language called Maori. When the European settlers arrived, the Maori were still living in a Stone Age culture, but they were very advanced in the arts. The Maori had performing arts, tattooing, and carving. A Maori, a woman, defines themselves by their tribe, sub-tribe, mountain, river, and bloodline. Today, approximately 600,000 people live in New Zealand, and therefore they are the second biggest ethnic group after the Europeans. Even though the culture of the Maori is connected to the Polynesian culture, through several years of complete isolation, they formed a unique culture that can be found nowhere else on Earth. The culture of the Maori includes diverse art expressions and values which rule the social interaction between the Maori individuals. The Maori had certain values which determined how members should interact with each other in a tribe. For instance, they had this one thing that is called mana. Mana can be best translated as status. A person who had mana in a tribe had a higher status than another person who had not mana. Mana can be inherited, but it can also be acquired through certain actions. Likewise, it can be lost or increased. Another example of the Maori values is the idea of utu or revenge. Utu has a broader meaning and was there to keep the balance in the society. If social relations are disrupted, utu can be used to restore the balance in the community. For instance, muru is a type of utu, where compensation could be accomplished by taking someone else's personal belongings. The art of the Maori is really impressive and unique compared to most other cultures. Maoris practice warukaro, which is the translation for carvings. It is a traditional art of carving and into materials like wood, bone, or stone. The Maori developed their own unique style, which was completely different to the original Polynesian style. They also specialized in tamoku or tattooing. Tamoku is a way of tattooing and was traditionally performed with an instrument like a rake or a cake. The rake carved into the skin and was utilized to break the skin. Then dye was dabbed into it with an edge blade. The outcome was a sterile tattoo like this one. Every tamoku of a tribe member was unique and represented his achievements and status in the tribe. Maori people express haka, which is a ritual dance before a tribe fought against an enemy, but they also used it when two tribes came together in peace. Nowadays, the New Zealand rugby team All Blacks perform it before a match, which made the haka a world-famous dance.
We can see now that New Zealand, as though it may seem like it's similar to Western culture through its native people, its landscape, and the animals here, it really kind of separates itself from most of the world. And I hope that if we haven't added another country that you guys may want to visit on your bucket list, you may have other options now for a country you can study abroad.
So New Zealand is really a travel destination that many of you want to visit one day, and whenever you go to New Zealand, think about the animals, the landscape, and the unique culture.